Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to another edition of Court Call with Ronnie Nunn, my man. We have some calls to go through. There are some angry fans. Ronnie, are you ready to give us some explanations?
That's what we're here for, Coach. That's what we're here for. We're going to slice it and dice it and see what we have.
All right, well, you're the calm voice in the storm because first we have a question here when Dallas played the Clippers. And toward the end, Dirk Nowitzki gets 3 free throws on a very strange call that I think had everybody, maybe including the refs, confused. Walk us through what happened here.
Well, you know, this is an interesting play because this is one of the plays in which I always re-emphasize with the officials, and I don't think they do it as much right now without me at the helm pushing it, is we need two sets of eyes on plays many times. And I always say this is the only play in town right now. So when you see this shot by Dirk Nowitzki, I mean, the one official on the play has got the three-point hand up, and that's good. I mean, he got that. But basically, he doesn't see all this other collision and stuff that goes on. And this is the reason why you need 2 sets of eyes on a play. So in this case, as we roll out of this play, you will notice the other official coming across, which is great. This is a veteran young man, been tutored real well, and I enjoy watching him work and watching him grow. He senses that this play needs help because there's a screen involved and the defender who pushes the screener, and that screener goes into the shooter, Nowitzki. And Nowitzki, because the shot was missed, is the one that gets the three shots at the free throw line. Had Nowitzki made that shot, the player that was pushed into him, his teammate, would have gone for the 1 shot extra, for the N1, so to speak.
That's very strange to me because, okay, let's make this clear. Blake Griffin pushes Vince Carter. That's the foul, right? Even though the shot was going at the same time. So it doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't Vince Carter be the guy shooting the free throws out of the bonus?
Because the shooter was interrupted in his shot. He's the one that got the most severe situation happen to him. Even though his own player hit him, obviously, if he would not push by an opponent, there would be nothing on the play. But because the opponent pushed his teammate into him, the shooter, Nowitzki's the one that goes to the line. And now to add on, if Nowitzki had made that shot, Nowitzki would not have gone to the line, but Vince Carter would have gone for the N1, which would have been a 4-point basket, a 4-point play. So that's part of a rule, not interpretation. That's a rule in basketball where an opponent pushes your teammate into you on a shot. If the shooter makes the shot, the opponent that pushed your teammate, he goes to the line. If the shooter misses the shot as a result of that foul from the opponent into your guy, into you, then the shooter goes to the line. So
once again, Ronnie, you're dropping knowledge on us that nobody knows that rule. I can tell you I've never even heard of that before. But it makes sense when I listen to it a couple times in a row because I get it. You're losing an opportunity to get a nice, clean look from 3, and they want to reward the offense for that foul. So, wow, this might be the highlight of our season so far because that's a rule that's obscure, I think.
Sometimes you can be right on a play and not see it. And I don't like when fans go, the guy was looking right at it. Well, he might not have been looking exactly like you think because he didn't expect this. No, he's looking for the shooter on an easy screen. There should be no problem. And he's worried about the 3. And all of a sudden, this other convoluted thing occurs. And it's like, I don't know what happened. It was a flash of light. I can't determine it. And his partner comes and gets it. And this is what good officiating is, particularly down the stretch where calls are critical.
Absolutely. Well, let's move on to our next call, which is a Chandler Parsons chase down block against the Nets when the Rockets face up in Brooklyn. A very strange call to me because it certainly looks like he gets it before it hits the backboard, which I believe is the rule. It makes it legal. So, Ronnie, what do you think about this call?
You know, this is clearly a blocked shot. It wasn't goaltending. And I think the official down on the bottom of our screen, who's the slot official or the center position for college officials, I think he just took a basic play and said it's got to be goaltending. You know, he's not in the greatest position to see this shot, whether it hit the board first. He's got the rim, the net, all in his way. He's gone down too far in the break, and it cost him. And this is a more junior guy out there, but he's learning. He's got great potential. Nothing is automatic. You've got to be sure. He took it to the point of thinking it was automatic, and Parsons makes a great block to the board of the ball, takes the ball to the board, and all of a sudden, this also results in a technical foul because that's how disturbing Parsons is about the play. Now, remember, in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, this play, because there was a whistle, could be reviewed and would have saved the grace. And now this is why we get onto that slippery slope about what you can review and what you can't review. And that's what the NBA and I think in all basketball people are worried about. How much video can you actually go to stop this game?
Let's move on to our next call, which is against the Memphis Grizzlies hooked up with the Denver Nuggets. And while this might not have really been crucial because the game was probably not going to change, we have an intentional missed free throw that doesn't appear to hit the rim. So, Ronnie, talk us through that rule and what do you think happened on this one?
Well, we all know that a free throw violation can occur by the free throw shooter if he does not make contact with the rim. And this is another game here right down the stretch with 7/10 of a second. And this violation could have given the opponent team 7/10 of a second to tie the game. So what we have here is it's an automatic violation if the ball doesn't hit the rim, even if it hits the backboard. But if a ball falls short or a ball hits the board and there's no rim contact, it's a violation. The clock doesn't move. I think in this case, the officials, by rule, cannot go to the video replay to see if the ball hit the rim. It's not like the 24-second violation where you can see, especially in the 2 minutes and down in this part of the game, you can see it. And if you're going to whistle it, they have absolutely no idea that it might have touched. They believe that it probably did touch. So in that vein, they decided to say, hey, we got to go on our judgment. There's no rule that allows us to go there. And so therefore it's a flaw play that has flawed judgment on it. And it's unfortunate because I think if you look at it, obviously, it doesn't appear that it got any skin of that rim at all.
Ronnie, if you were reffing this game, would you have had a sense that, hey, maybe they're going to try to do this to get the clock to run out and tell everybody and really get them focused on looking for that? Wouldn't that be something that a referee would do, or an experienced referee?
Yes, we do come together on this play. There's several things that happen. One, the free throw shooter and his actions. In other words, missing a shot on purpose. The second is the free throw shooter running before the ball hits the rim so he can be the first to tap it back in maybe. Also, the guys on the lane line, are they going to come in too soon? It's a Keystone Cop crazy moment, and it's one of the worst moments in officiating. And now you got to worry about the guys from the three-point line coming in, breaking the plane and coming in. So it's all there. You got to sort of tell each one, what are you going to do? What are you going to look at? And what are you going to look at? And if you can get three people to look at some things, which is also very hard to do because it's not something that happens every moment. And it's not a habitual action. So it's just an unfortunate thing. And I think a play like this, to me, requires the instant replay. If there's that much question, even though there isn't a whistle, I think instant replay has to help. And again, here we go on a slippery slope of instant replay, which in basketball, it can be very interruptive.
Well, let's move on to our last play of the day, which happened last night in a very controversial and key matchup between two Western Conference foes, where in overtime, Monta Ellis goes up against the defense to the basket when it was tied, and O'Neal takes the ball out of the air, kind of in front of the rim, no call, and then Curry was able to come back down and hit this ridiculous shot for the winner. Ronnie, what do you think? Was this a goaltend or was this a clean block?
This was, in my estimation, a goaltend. Now, having said that, because I want to get that out, having said that, this is almost an impossible play to judge. But unless you have replay, and even on replay, as the cameras showed, the question is, had the ball reached its apex and be on its way down? When I was officiating early on, I learned early on by Darryl Garretson that if a ball reaches its apex, it is virtually at that moment on its way down. And when you see the loft of a ball, in other words, it's not being fired straight out. When you see a loft of a ball and you feel that it's on its apex, that ball is still part of that trajectory of a loft and a curve. There's a curvature to that ball coming on its way down. If it reaches its apex, it's virtually on its way down. And I taught that because I taught that to the staff when I was a director. And it's not official, but it is an interpretation I thought would always help us. And in this case, it always virtually is on its way down. And most people are going to see that the ball looks like it's reached its apex and it's almost on a curve to its way down. Call it goaltending and stay away from it because that's the way to deal with that. Or if the guy gets it before the apex, everybody is happy. But if it's at the apex, it's virtually on its way down.
To me, I always had a notion of, you know, he's basically jumping in front of the rim almost to get it. Like when you see the replay, you see that he's probably about 4 feet away, or like, you know, he's inside the lane when he catches it. So to me, I always feel like there was that kind of notion of interpretation where he's almost doing the original goaltending before they had the rule, when guys like Mikan and Curlin would just take the ball out of the air. And that's what it looked like to me as far as in real time. And then certainly, you know, there's 2 or 3 frames maybe where it starts to go down. Could they do a replay on this one?
They couldn't do a replay on it because they didn't call it. This is a time, 2 minutes and under again, where you can go and check a goaltend play. But in this case, you have to whistle the play. If you don't whistle the play, then it's not reviewable. I think we have to do some things about not whistling plays. And, you know, that also interrupts the game. I mean, the officials have to have the responsibility of making calls so the game can go on. I mean, look what happens. They get a block. They could have got a block and a fast break. And if that break was going on, it really would have been interruptive to go and see this play. So half of this is on the officials, as always. And the other half is if you do stop the clock with a whistle, then, hey, then it's worthy of a look.
And you know what? It really cost the Mavericks because they got put back into 9th place now. And I hope that this doesn't really come back to haunt them. I'm sure we can pick up plenty of other opportunities where they could have won the game and had played better earlier. But this one's going to hurt a little while for the Mavericks fans. But I'll tell you this, everyone else should be feeling terrific after this show because there's some terrific analysis and amazing insights that we got from this. Definitely one of our best ones.
Well, I hope it's received that way. They're also very tough and unusual plays. And again, you know, I want to add one more thing to goaltending. Goaltending, when you're talking about the trajectory of a shot, can be an illusion, even by the cameras. I mean, the various views of cameras can give you an illusion that it is goaltending, and all of a sudden another camera shot can show that it isn't goaltending. So the play off the board is much easier to deal with than the lofting of a shot and its trajectory. So really tough. It's just part of the game in basketball. You know, I have no problem with the fact that they didn't call it, but if you want to really technically believe it or have some kind of guideline, I still believe in the apex concept. And I was taught that way, and I think when you catch something, it almost stops in midair when it's on its way. That means it's on its way, and just call it.
Terrific. Well, our show has hit the apex for sure as we go through this season. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in?
I'm in, Coach. Nice job.